YouTube? We're back in today for more of our Gencon Bonanza Explosion Blowout coverage, brought to you by some amazing Kickstarter backers and some amazing sponsors who help send us here, including Tasty Minstrel Games, who sponsors us year-round, Gleam Games, who has Dark Mages coming out a little bit later this year, and Black Souls, which is put out by Medieval Lords, which is going to be running a Kickstarter in just about a month or two. Right now, we're in the first exposure playtest double other words hall at Gen Con, where games that are going to become games will eventually become games after playtesting and checking it out. Here with Mike, and we're about to learn about Set a Watch. So what is Set a Watch?
So Set a Watch is actually the first game I'm going to publish that isn't my own. I've helped with some of the design elements, but it's from a fellow designer and friend and colleague in our Philadelphia area, like Game Makers Guild. So Set a Watch, basically the conceit is, after you've gone on your adventure, your D&D adventures, at night when you're setting a watch back at camp, picking someone to watch over your camp as one of you rests. The big bad guy that you killed, there's a bunch of enemies trying to get into your camp and kill you and resurrect the big bad guy that you just killed during your adventure. So it's a fully cooperative game, 1 to 4 players. You pick one of the main tropes of fantasy games. You pick to play a dwarf or elf or cleric, knight, etc. And it's played over the course of 9 rounds. Each character must rest at camp at least twice during the course of the game. So, and then the person resting in camp can take there's a light worker placement element where you can place dice to take camp actions. Once your camper has made their actions, you're going to find out what location you're facing, which is going to tell you how many monsters are coming after you. It's sort of like a tower defense game where you lay out a line of creatures. You only see how many creatures as your fire burns bright. So one of the key things is managing your firewood.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of monsters have really bad reveal and first position effects. So if your fire dips low, you start getting hammered by dragons breathing on you and dealing damage to you and everything else. So it's sort of a tower defense game where you manipulate the line, and you do that through characters and their cards. Your cards are your health, so you can spend dice to use an ability, or if you're out of dice that you've used to destroy monsters, you can exhaust them. If all 4 players have exhausted all their cards, you've been overcome by the great evil. In this deck of cards, there's a summon card. That card's the real bad card, where one of these monsters, and this deck is faced up, so you always know the next big bad that's coming away, because you have chances to use doubles to cast spells to seal them away permanently and remove them from the game. So you can always see who's coming next, but there is a summon card in here that you typically hit once or twice a game. So you're always gonna have to face a big boss at least once. And
what's the player count on this?
It's 1 to 4. You always have 4 characters to use, but it's just sort of, if you play 3 players, the person who's resting, you sort of do their camp actions as a group, and then the other 3 players play the real characters. If you're playing 2, you each play 2. So you always have 4 characters in the mix, protecting the camp. But, you could play 1 player and you just play all 4 characters.
And this is going to be coming to Kickstarter?
Yeah, I think it'll probably hit Kickstarter next year. We're in the middle of art production, so some of this art is final, most of it is not. Art that is final is like the elf. The elf is the artist, but the artist who's done this, like this knight he drew, is part of his portfolio, but it's not for our game. So we'll get something similar to that. Maybe we'll ask him and he'll let us use her. I mean, she does fit, but so it's sort of a mix of concept art, inspiration, mock-up, and final art.
All right.
But obviously stuff's still set to change.
Very, very cool. That is Set a Watch, coming to Kickstarter hopefully next year. If it looks like it might be your cup of tea, be sure to check that one out. Before then, check it out on Board Game Geek. Foam it up. If you're enjoying this Gen Con coverage, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Watches, yay or nay?
The watch is yay, obviously.
All right, but what if it wasn't a smartwatch?
Still yay. Still yay.
I got a
The
Garmin.
only smartwatch I have is a Pebble, which has gone out of business. And I bought this one to replace one that broke after they went out of business because all the other smartwatches are too big.
I'm yay on smartwatches and pedometers, nay on just regular watches. I'll just use my phone then. But let me know in the comments below. Watches, yay or nay? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.